Welcome back, everybody, to the final week of the Ireland Esports Collegiate Series brackets, the group stages. We are in for a good and fiery end tonight as UCD and TUD go head to head in what is going to be a great game. My name is Number, and I'm joined once again by the great Horatius. Horatius, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited for this game. Like, very strong teams coming in here. So hopefully we get a map 3 banger. So that would be nice. But I'm just super excited to see how these two teams battle it out.
Yeah, definitely so. And, obviously, TUD, not TUD, UCD actually winning the previous winter season, winning it in fashion against DCU, who unfortunately just didn't have what it takes at the final hurdle. And UCD come in with an unchanged starting roster, not something we have seen much of at spring, and may be a question about maybe they're being too safe, but at the same time, you could say that they've won 2-0 so far against Setu and ATU, and they've not chopped the map, so fairly standard, fairly dominant, I should say. But as for TUD, few changes in Asian and Collywobbles, the only two sort of survivors from last season, and they have dropped the map against Setu, but again, like UCD, 2-0 against Setu and ATU. I mean, two very strong sides.
I mean, it's two very different stories, obviously. Like, UCD are very dominant. They just won Prem last sem, so they are probably coming in very confident. And most of the TUD players are actually coming from Open Division, where they did win, but it isn't regarded as highly as Prem, obviously, because the competition isn't as fierce. So the TUD players are definitely the underdogs in this game, but I won't be surprised with any kind of twist in the game here, because they're two very strong teams. The players are very accomplished. I mean, most of the TUD players, I think, could probably hold their own against the UCD players, but like, once again, like, you can't underestimate UCD. They are the Prem champions. They haven't dropped a single map yet. They've shown just over this regular season that they still have it. Like, they haven't changed anything, and they don't really need to if they keep up putting these performances where they just dominate the competition. So it is definitely a very interesting game, because you have someone who just won Prem, and then you have pretty much the other team all won Open as well. So it'd be an interesting game. It's an interesting game to see, like, how they match up together.
Yeah, definitely so. And whilst we've been talking, the veto has been happening, and UCD, I mean, they banned Haven as their very first ban. I mean,
Oh.
hell of a ban, I must say, as Bind, Split, and Pearl will be our three maps. And I mean, this is interesting. I mean, Bind has been a staple of our ECS spring so far, but so has Haven. And to see a team banning it, really interesting to see.
Yeah, like, usually we do see that at Haven, so obviously that's a bit of a shocker. Corrode ban is not that out of the ordinary. Obviously, we don't get the Breeze or the Abyss. So these are fairly standard, except for the map 3. I don't think we've seen a Pearl yet, which is going to be very interesting if we do get to that map 3. But the bind and splits, just staples again of the Irish Collegiate. We see those pretty much every single time picked. It will be interesting to see what we can get from both teams on these, especially knowing that there are some very strong Yoru players in this match. And it is just such a interesting map with set plays and the things that you can do. So it's a good, nice start to the game, but obviously we want to see that map 3. We want to get to that Pearl. The first time that we get to see the Pearl, and with such an interesting match, I just love to get there.
Yeah, definitely so. And as we will take a minute just while players getting the final preparations done to just say a big thank you to our sponsors, PlayAid, GG Machines, Dogpatch, and Red Bull. Thank you for sponsoring the Ireland Esports Collegiate Series. And Horatius, I've got to ask this before every match because this has just become our thing. Predictions. Who do you reckon is going to take it today?
Oh, you can call me a biased streamer, a biased caster here, but I have to go with my boys in TUD. I know most of these players personally, and I know that they have the potential to win this game, even if they are the underdogs. So I do have to give it to UCD. If TUD win, they are going to fight tooth and nail UCD. So I predict a 2-1 just because I have that personal bias towards TUD, but like I wouldn't be surprised if UCD run away with it just because they are such a dominant team. But yeah, it's a 2-1 for TUD in my books.
Yeah, I think I go the opposite. I think it's I don't know if I say 2-1 or 2-0. I don't know. I think UCD will win either way, as these two teams will be fighting for that top spot in Group A. As Group A currently looking, TUD will lead UCD in second with Setu in third and ATU down in fourth. But we will be getting on to bind, and it looks to be fairly standard from both sides. UCD will be attacking first with TUD on the defense, and fairly standard composition for the attacking side. As Marvu hovering that Phoenix, you wouldn't dare, would you? No, I don't think we're privileged enough to see that tonight.
Yeah, they're teasing us a little bit, TUD, with these picks, but I do want to focus on the attacker side comp. Usually, especially in the Irish Collegiate, we have been seeing a double duelist being run. Actually, never mind. Sorry, it's bi. No, this is a very standard comp. But other than maybe the Rays, I think we have seen some very different picks here. So I'm surprised to see no Yoru coming in from the attacker side because Yoru is such a staple of this map. But other than that, it's fairly normal. Maybe if they do pick that Clove, that is a bit out of the ordinary because Brim is just so good on this map. But other than that, fairly standard comp. Now, what we look to be hovering on the TUD side, though, seems to be pretty much like what I expected from them. Almost the exact same comp, except for maybe the duelist and the one of the controllers. So it's pretty much mirrored, other than those two different picks there. It'll be interesting to see how they play it out and what the differences cause.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like UCD are going more with comfort picks rather than actual like meta. Obviously, the Yoru being that meta and just across every map really going, but CMD decided to go with the Rays and Toru with that Clove. I mean, kind of acted like a second duelist. I know Clove is definitely one where it gets comparisons to a secondary duelist a lot, definitely a controller duelist, but I mean, is that a cause for maybe some concern if they play comfort picks rather than meta?
I mean, at this level, I'd say comfort picks usually do prevail, just because it's purely like if you know how to play an agent, you are going to perform better statistically in most of your games than if you pick something that you don't really know how to play over that. So I think that that's probably the smarter play if they think that the comfort picks will work better. But once again, like the Yoru is just so strong on bind that I am kind of shocked that they wouldn't have any Yoru player that could actually fill up that mantle. So it's gonna be a bit of a early fight with the Yoru actually here on long. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, TUD looking to try and maybe fight this early as Collingwood has that flash out, but meanwhile across the other side of A, it's just cleaned up too. As UCD are going to get some packs though, and go get a free B site for CMD and also Slime, but the problem is they're flanked on every side as Gartz and Asian, and now Marvu joins the fight from the flank, and I mean, Slime has got so low HP, 18 HP for the fade here. I mean, this is going to require a miracle as Asian now jumps out, Gartz himself. CMD finds one, this is Gartz doesn't find the second. CMD a third for him, but Marvu's got the 1v1 and CMD now has to get a fourth to put this round into UCD's favour. Marvu fakes the tap, gonna go for a swing, and says a bit of damage to CMD, but not enough. But time is running out for Marvu. He has to make a move. Something has to be done. It's a headshot to CMD, but does he have time? I don't think so.
I think he just has it actually.
Does he have it?
By the smallest bet he has it.
0.61, Marvu does it. Oh, that was close to both sides, but TUD managing to get ahead early on.
I mean, that was such a back and forth. Asian got a nice 2 early frags on the showered lurk. And although the Flash and I were both good on long, it seemed like Collywobbles and the Fade just whiffed horrifically. Although they do actually manage to get one there, I think they could have gotten to all 3 of those fairly easily if they didn't whiff. It was a very swing back and forth round from both teams there. Really good pickup from UCD, even though they were down 2 to equalize to a certain extent, and then CMD almost picking it back up and winning that round by himself.
Now it's just going to be an A hit, trying to just speed onto the A side, hope for this. Might be there, but the side defense will be a pain in the backside. Toru as he's just spam maybe to get his third of that. Just more spam, a little bit more damage, but nothing much as Murphy finds the headshot onto Agent Sushi. just trying to make something happen at UCD, and the only thing that's happening is CMD's been taken down to 25 HP. I mean, this is what feels to be a lost round, especially considering that Slime doesn't even have the spike on the site yet. Warriors, a little spike on more. Elizabeth right to finds guards, but that's the only one that's found as a fairly standard bonus round for TUD.
And they managed to maintain every single weapon that they bought up there. So this is pretty much as good as the bonus can get for the TUD side. Obviously, not what you want out of an eco round. They only got 1 kill. They did a bit of damage to some armor, but they didn't even get the plant down. So a bit of lackluster eco coming in from UCD, but this is the round that matters here now. They need to try avoid that Bucky especially, and the Outlaw doesn't have any targets that can actually be one-shotted by the light armor. So this is very important now. UCD need to make sure that they don't fumble this anti-bonus round.
Yeah, Bucky's judges are all deadly weapons, as we saw yesterday in the Masters final, Masters Santiago final with Danby. He gets a kill for football, not something that happens often. Collier with the elbow, punishes Toru, but Slime gets the trade. Coward trade on Slime though. It's pump for ones everywhere, as Coward's just surrounded. Gets the headshot to CMT, to Elizabeth, sorry, but she manages to pull away with her life. There's now post-plant set up is in favour of UCD and Marvu. Well, he only has a Sheriff. I mean, this is going to take a lot for TUD to come back in here, but there's 2 low HP targets, and especially if CMD goes down, I mean, anything can happen here. As Asian tries to swing out, but CMD headshot instantly, and he finds another 4K. Oh, I say another 4K. The first one was 3K, I think, was it?
Yeah, it was a 3K, almost 4 on the clutch, but CMD is scavenging this round practically. I mean, if Kawa gets that other kill on Hookah, it was an equalized round, and although he did get the damage and they were low, CMD just took that forward position with the health he had, and he got the kills that were necessary to win that round. So really well played from CMD and making sure that that round wasn't lost. Very important round, and now they have the Raze ult activated. Such a strong ult for entering onto site, and we'll see if they actually use this here to get the early frags that they want, and they actually have read the weaker side, although it has the Cypher.
Yeah, they're going to be under a lot of pressure here. The Ice actually gets spotted out, and now the showstopper used by CMD, just trying to get something, but it's a big whiff on the showstopper. It doesn't really matter. You have control of the site as Toru takes a little bit of damage. Sol actually takes a lot of damage, and CMD's just put himself on top of the truck. Does get found up with guts though. It's only 6 HP, but the volley is wayward as Collie wobbles now with this operator holding his angle. It's a 1-for-1 trade. It doesn't really benefit anyone. Guards tries to swing through, doesn't find anything. Asian swings through and finds Toru. Now it's a 2 versus 2 post-bot. Neural theft out. Both positions scouted. Asian finds Sushi. Elizabeth finds the headshot to Cower, but with only 11 HP. I mean, this is a 1v1. And neither side has any HP, 22 HP in total, and it's Asian, the fastest victor in the West, with a 3K to put TUD ahead by a margin of 2.
These are such close rounds, and that early aggression from CMD with his ult, and then also satcheling onto U-Haul, onto the truck there, almost netted some very nice frags, although the refrag was quick. But honestly, TUD's choice to just play for the retake and not fight for sight was really nicely done, and some quick mid-round thinking from them. Obviously, this is not the best now for UCD losing that buy round, because they did use a fair amount of money here. So if they lose this round, which it looks like they are investing kind of heavily into, actually never mind, it looks like a half buy. So they can afford to lose this round, but you don't really want to start giving TUD too much room to run away with.
They don't get the spot out, Collier still has the op, but it's a leg shot to Slide, but so I'm just going to run down to the judge. Now it's a sharing position for Kawa, and so much to survive the judge as well, but Guards and Kawa manages to get a 2-2, but Toru is there with the judge as well. Numbers advantage UCD's favour, and the post-block comes through as well, as Marvu only has this judge to try and make something happen. Agent does have the Phantom though, and it's already been proven how deadly they can be with that weapon as well. He's going to just try and move through the smoke as the judge shot fires and hits no one. Then now this is just such a painful position for TUD. There's not much they can really do here to try and unsort the post plant. They're going to rely on Marvin to try and make something happen. Only find, well, it doesn't even find anything. Asian's the one he finds, but Slime with that operator, only 5 HP, but it doesn't matter. UCD will put another round onto the board.
That was a nice clean round from UCD. They actually flushed out Collywobbles with the op in hookah with that jump swing, and then pretty much side is open because once that lamps was lost, the 2 long players were pretty much isolated and worried about long push and the hookah push. So that pretty much opened the entire round for UCD. Now TUD's eco is completely ruined, and although they do have the ult advantage, they're not really going to find many chances to use it, and if they do invest and still lose, it's going to be even more devastating than just losing a normal eco round. So this is a good position for UCD to be in here.
Yeah, Asian would. I don't really say what I want to say is a hero pride with the Guardian, but it's definitely a big pride. But CMT stuck is going quite far already. Colin will be trying to make something happen, doesn't. Guards does find one with the classic though, but Kawai's has to sprint away. But I mean, well played by UCD here as they now just rush onto the site with full confidence as Kawa goes down. It's only Asian with the Guardian behind Slime with the CMD. Finds a second, but the Toru just not expected to be in the position where they were. As now UCD will equalize.
A fairly standard eco round where TUD push, obviously not finding much success, but it was a nice attempt. Now looking at the ults that are coming in for TUD, this is a very big round. They have 5 ults up and ready to the 2 ults that UCD have here. So how much they're willing to invest to try secure this round is going to be a very important decision coming in from the IGL of TUD. And although the eco is looking good for UCD, if they do lose this round, then they have one more round to buy, and then their eco is slightly torn.
Yeah, something I'm noticing a lot with UCD is, you know, after that first round where they tried to split and it really didn't work as Asian found too, they've just been grouping up as 5 and playing together. I don't want to say running down these sites, but playing together as this team and not really wanting to go for lurks or fakes on the A site, but I mean, this is definitely a map where that kind of style does work, as Guards takes a lot of damage from the Phantom, as Kawa's not even looking at the Guard pressure, and that just allows CMD to let one of the freest kills they'll get. Elizabeth has just found Collywobbles with the Judge, and Collywobbles finds Elizabeth. Toru just holding up on site though, and I mean, the site is being given over to UCD, as I say that. CMD goes down to the orbital strike, and now Sushi's trying to run away. Can't, because Asian just caught the back side, and now the CP through. Theft is going to give them position away anyway, but I mean, this is falling apart for UCD after such a good start. Collywobbles with the dimensional drift. He's going to find one, he's going to find the second. The second with the op, Precisely going to push forward, kill Marvu, and now doesn't really know what to do against Collywobbles. Tries to turn the flash, doesn't, ends up looking at wall. Collywobbles Asian funny kills, and I mean, that's ambitious from Toru. These are not dead yet as TUD stabilize and add another round.
I mean, very nice round win for for TUD there, but they did lose a lot of weapons that were invested, although they did recuperate the op, and they also used 3 ults here, so it's not the biggest loss for UCD now. They're coming into this with an ult advantage, and they still have the money for an almost full buy. I think one person, Agent Sushi, is not going to be able to buy an op, so it's not the worst case scenario for UCD. Now, this is a very important round, obviously, as I was talking earlier, because of the eco. So if they lose this round, they're going to be broke going into the next. And also, if they use ults, it's going to be even more devastating. So it's going to be important to see how they play this. And it looks like they're going for another just full man site exec, but this time it's not read properly. There's 3 people on that A site.
Yeah, one could use it. He's going to dive over with the showstopper, but it's going to just miss everyone. Because now they're going to have to try and find something in there. Guards does take a bit of damage from the showstopper, but finds 2 with the Judge, but CMD and Sushi coming right back into it, and the numbers advantage is in favour of Sushi. But the kit is going to be invested by Sushi anyway, as the first one will come in, but again they're surrounded on all sides. Marvu has that timing, and the Nightfall coming through. CMD's not going to even suspect the Marvu's there. Now Sushi has the Judge, but with only 28 HP. That will be like 35, but now Judge no bullets. It's going to run down by Collywobbles. Does find them! And that was the 1 versus 1 run HP onto Sushi. That was going closer and closer as the Sharks' jaws will shut closed on UCD as TUD put themselves up to 5.
think the TUD has adapted to this just run it down on one site strategy, and they're actually playing it fairly well. They have a nice setup going with that 2-3 on A and B, but they did swap it up that time. But other than that, I feel like they're actually slowly becoming better and better with dealing with these executes. Although they did use the remaining 2 ults that they had there, that's a very nice round win. 2 ults coming out from UCD, and on top of that, their eco is now completely broken, so they have to save this round or even just go for a slight half buy. So really good round for TUD, and it looks like UCD are finally making some switches and looking for that split instead of just an all-site hit because of the eco.
Yeah, I mean, this is most something I can think of doing, but Marvu, I mean, 2 shots, 2 kills with that outlaw into this, but it's going to try and take down Asian, but Asian's just going to put Elizabeth down to 4 HP as this battle of the Cyphers will eventually be run out by Asian. So big, because CMD comes in. The White Knight trying to save Elizabeth, but won't be able to. Marvu finds a third on for the ace with the outlaw. And now has that spike as well, but Asian's going to steal the ace away. Find another 2 kills in the Phantom. It's flawless for TUD.
I think there's a pattern here when they're going on the A sites that UCD have, and it's that they just can't get that showers control. And that's something that Yoru is so good at maintaining when you're on that attack side or taking better yet. So every time that the UCD team have gone to A, they've either fumbled on the showers or they've just left showers empty and gotten wrapped from it. So at a certain point, you're going to have to start thinking, like, as UCD, how are we going to change this up and how are we going to adapt to this situation and take away the shower control that's giving TUD so much value?
I love this, they're standing slide again with this ace side. Cypher's going to miss everyone because TUD have actually pushed up towards showers rather than Asian. Pushed up towards showers, spam, or killing it Slime to 1 HP. I swear, most of the times I see Slime's health bar, they're on 1 HP. Like, it's weird. I feel like Slime is illegal for them to have more than like 50 HP at any point. Otherwise it's just like a cursed game, but most part will come down for UCD as CMD finds one, Slime goes down to the poison as Colony Wobbles finds ahead, finds a kill with the op, finds a kill with a shorty as well. Neural Theft now used, Sushi's now scouted out, has to find his kill, but Colony Wobbles has got a third, and Gartz finds their second, and I mean TUD look unstoppable here.
I mean, this A-hold is looking especially strong. The Brim Cypher setup is looking really nice, and they're maintaining the shower control, which I mentioned last round, that is just completely thwarting the UCD push. So UCD have to maybe start investing a little more if they want to go on A to that showers, because the Brim and the Cypher are just not moving, and the retake becomes almost impossible when you don't have control of that side of the map. But once again, this is looking more and more like it's just a runaway from TUD. It looks like they're gaining control and they're understanding more how this UCD team wants to play and take these sites, and they've just adapted perfectly to it.
Yeah, and let me remind you, this is UCD's map pick as well, that they are getting owned so far in this first half. The CMD goes for this quick walk up onto B as I will spot everyone from Kawa. But no one's actually committed to the site yet, as Collie Wobbles still has this op, but UCD are actually going to start funneling out, except for Elizabeth, who's maybe going to try for a bit more, but with only the Sheriff in hand, I mean, not much will be lost when Collie Wobbles finds the headshot, as now we get to a bit where UCD aren't really sure of what they want to do. They're actually going to head back towards this B site, where this operator, or at least was, as Collie Wobbles, will be rotating towards A, but there's still 3 players towards this B site, and even though you don't have the operator or any Cypher util, I mean, it's a 3 versus 3 on site, and with how some of the other gunfights have gone so far this game, I put that well into the mix of TUD is just like that. Agent Sushi, the lurk is cancelled out as the wall goes down. A very unfortunate time. He gets a headshot to one, but it's still the wall. It's power. Finds another kill. It's just CMD to try and make a hero play. Won't do anything. Slime finds one through the smoke with a bucky, but it won't even think about Kawa in that elbow position. As TUD again, I mean, making UCD an unbeaten team look very stoppable.
Yeah, their holds are looking so good in it. They have a nice balance of just either holding site or retake, and whoever's making the decisions on TUD's side on whether they should retake or just hard hold a site is calling this perfectly. Because this is just, it looks like they're just dismantling the UCD team right now. They leave that hookah space as soon as they recognize that people were there, and they maintain space everywhere else. This is looking really rough for UCD so far.
Yeah, UCD trying to go with aggression and instead just getting a backhand from Marvy with the upward. Slime finds one. It's just going to be a big peak from everyone. It's going to be a list of finding the kill as Duo theft. UCD knows A site is weak and they know that A site is where this operator is because Collywobbles is the one that's scouted, and now they're going to try and go for it. Collywobbles through the smoke. I mean, you barely saw slide for more than 3 frames, I want to say there, but maybe I'm being a bit generous on slides for half, but still. 3 versus 3 now retake. Dimensional drift from Collywobbles. It's going to start out 2 members of UCD. Soshi and Taru finding kills anyway. It's just Collywobbles to try and make a hero play with this Phantom and won't do that. As UCD try and stabilize before the half.
It looked like TUD got a bit overzealous there, to be honest, with the re-swings on the shower after getting that first frag. But other than that, it was looking like a really beautiful defense half coming in from TUD. Now, it is a bit switched up now, so maybe the UCD team will be, they're a little more comfortable on this defense, but they need to start fighting back at this point because it is looking like a bit of a clean wipe right now. So we'll see how they actually play these and how the TUD team decides they want to play this attack. Nothing too out of the ordinary from the buys here, and it looks like it's just going to be an A hit all over with a 4-man stack on the B from UCD, and it looks like they're just going for a hard long push, so the TP might actually come through on a fight on showers here.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of pressure applied to Slime now. He's not been having the greatest of games now. Yeah, they try to walk up long and then they realise that no one's here, so now they're going to send TP and some TP established, but it doesn't matter. Collywobbles finds one anyway. CMT just trade out and now the ghost is hit. The rest of the TP. Slime tries to make a hero play happen. Will not be a hero, will just be more like a zero. His age now in the corner. Will try and find something, but the shots are whiffy. But CMT down to 3 HP. Something. It's an opportunity for TUD to come back in here, especially when guards are taking headshots like that. Elizabeth will take a bit of damage, but has to just try and defend this post plant with her life keys. The rifle's gonna go through. Guards goes down! Oh, what a shot by Elizabeth to get the 2-piece onto Cower. And that was a round that UCD had no business winning in the end. Somehow Elizabeth pulls magic out of the hat.
What an interesting eco play there from UCD though. A 4-man push down long, and if they recognize that they're on A, they go for a 4-man TP. Although it didn't really work out to their favor there, that looked like it was just going to completely wipe out both Collywobbles and I think it was Asian who was with him. So very nice play, but it didn't really work out in their favor. They really didn't have business winning that, but it worked out. Some very nice shots from Elizabeth there towards the end. Looking like a just complete eco, no force or anything, and another A hit. Very important round, obviously. You never want to get ecoed here on your buy.
Yeah, definitely so. It's going to be a progression again from UCD, as this time it's going to have a much better guns, and the Bucky of Collywobbles is going to stand out and caught by Slime as might just try and bait the rotations here, trying to get TV. But now I've got Spike, I don't need to. I'm just going to play so aggressive with the Spike. That was a 50 HP, Slime takes down Marvu. I think this round is basically done, especially with that, and it looks like it's going to be a flawless unless guards can pull something out of somewhere to even find 1 kill, but maybe you have to find this kill. Both with it. His guards prevents the flawless, but with only 26 HP, he was got a duck and dodge and dash. We'll see out the sheriffs, but maybe 1 shot from CMD is needed. As TUD will go on to keep their losing streak in the second half.
I mean, it's pretty much a mirroring of what happened last half on that eco. They only got 1 kill, no bomb plants, not that much damage, and UCD pretty much got to keep all the guns here for the bonus, and CMD has also bought up to a Phantom. So this is probably not the best situation for TUD, but once again, it comes down to this buy round. This is very important. This is where it starts looking more dangerous and dangerous if UCD win this round. So we'll see what they can do with the limited amount of guns that they have, and if TUD are able to deal with that.
Yeah, look at this aggressive position from CMD already, using both the satchels and the boot block just to clear out B-main. Instead, Matt has taken the orb as well as the rest of Team D are going to be towards this A site, apart from Marvu, who's going to be heading towards Hookah. But and look, this is a 4-stack on A, and this has been read perfectly by UCD. But the problem is that TUD are very hesitant in trying to make something happen, and I mean, they've got 4 players moved up towards this A site. I mean, this could be possible as one player has switched around, is slimed to go to this B site, but he's not even needed. CMD's going to be the one to take down Marvu, as the rest of TD are now going to go forward and try and fight forward with on site, get this part down as Elizabeth doesn't have the share of shots in hand to take down Asian. We're going to a 4v4 post-bar, but the problem is CMD has that showstopper ready and available. And Sushi, well, I was going to say, is just controlling this lamp space, but Collywobbles has the knife in the back and is fully just backstabbing as Toru sees Sushi heads, won't be able to get shots on though. Gonna take a lot of damage though, as CMD finds 2 more. There's so many found, showstopper used as well. Has a reading of where these players can be. 4th under Collywobbles, Asia finds 2 more, but just get the 3rd in time. A 4k for Asia, but he can't save it. The fuse comes in and TUD miss out by a hair.
Very close round. TUD actually very interesting split there. They had the Brim walking up Hookah by himself while the rest of the team was defaulting on that A. So a bit very interesting play from TUD, but honestly CMD just came out and guns blazing. The very nice kills he got on that retake, and the stick on the defuse was the smart play there, because if not they would have lost that round. Asian almost salvaging something out of nowhere. But it looks like it's just going to be a bit of a default here with some light buys and Asian with a Hero Guardian.
Anyone a Hero Guardian is going to be Asian, who's already come up with 29 as the operator leg shots Marvu. Seen a lot of leg shots for the operator today. Well, I think we've seen 2, but it's more than you usually see. As Marvu now falls so low HP. Slime has his own as well, so it's going to be very difficult to even consider pushing into the safe side, but that is what TUD are doing exactly. And I really just realised Marvin has the spike as well, it's going to drop it. So, such a risk. 5 HP for Marvin. They're just going to try and run down. There's the spam with the only coming up through. They're not going to find anyone, as Collingwood was just TPs behind Slime, finds the kill, tries to get the own down, but Elizabeth capitalizes on already low. Collingwood was he misses again. Some poor bodies out today from Vipers. Now, TUD just control the site completely, but the problem is they're doing it with worse weaponry. So they've got to make something happen. They've got to do something. This guard's going to stay in the room with the nade, and it's all starting to fall apart. Elizabeth and Sushi getting kills. Oh, he's sick with the defuse. TMD finds 1. Kawa has the own, trying to spam through, but can't get anything thorough. As UCD managed to tie it up once again.
There's a fairly recognizable pattern with the Irish collegiate teams on Find, and that is that they don't know how to attack, but they know how to defend. So what was looking like a fairly dominant game from TUD has just been flipped completely with 4 rounds in a row now by UCD because of that swap of the half, and it's UCD now being on the defense. They've somehow evened up this game, which looked like it was just going to be a TUD game for them to run away with. And now, TUD, although they have another buy, this is just slowly running out of their grasp with that Your Ult Insta used on Hookah.
Yeah, it's going to spot out Asian Sushi, and CMD's going to be put under a lot of pressure with this operator. There's 3 members of TUD are there peeking, but we'll get 1, but the problem is, Toru doesn't get any more. The operator is down the middle of that fuse, go scout the rest of UCD. He's able not finding that first up shot, the Odin rings out though, and Sushi fights 2. Even though Slime goes down, the operator is going to find a 3rd. And now it's just Asia with this operator, has to make something work. But without that Odin, you might as well call Agent Sushi Agent Brock, as UCD take the lead.
Yeah, it just looks like TUD is struggling to get through on these sites. They're getting the early frags, and it looks like they're getting onto site early, nicely, but then they're just not flushing out these backside players, even when they're going on A, it seems like they don't have control of backside at all whatsoever. So these retakes seem very easy for UCD here. Now they have to go for another eco with some hero buys. Oh, actually, it seems like they're forcing. And they also invested that Euro ult, which is such an important ult that last round. So just slowly and slowly, it seems like that they're losing grip of this game because they're struggling to take these sides.
Look at this, they're going into this operator and Simon's round 2, CD's round 1, and the round is basically over already. You've got Marvu and Gartz. Gartz only has a judge. Gartz got pushed forward, there's a 4K for the fade, and just a click of the fingers, and the round is done, and UCD really taking control back into this game of their map pick.
And that was a force there, so now they have to eco here on such a round so close to match point here. If they lose this round, it's just gonna look so difficult to get back into the game here. They are charging up on some ults here, although UCD do have the ult advantage just by a large margin. So UCD are actually in a very comfortable position here, and it looks like they have a set game plan now with just leaving this Odin on the lines and just holding it down for free.
Yeah, I mean, it's working, so what it came to, you have operator one side, the Odin the other. And it makes an irresistible force, that little unmovable object. It's just going to be running on with the Odin, and finding two, can't find a third. But Asian's knocked down to 23 HP, he's going to try and make a play for this Odin, but Toru's just there, ready and waiting. Elizabeth finds Gart, and it's only Kawa left as you just feel the Sharks whirling across. You feel like UCD's time on this map is getting shorter and shorter as CMD will go down as Kawa picks up this up, but the problem is 1v3, 36 HP, and doesn't have... No, it's nowhere near the spike, I should say. I mean, this is just impossible. Even with 45 seconds remaining, Kawa's just trapped. There's nothing they can do, and Elizabeth is going to get spammed through the wall. And UCD are really coming back into this game in style.
The walls are slowly closing in on TUD here. It just seems like they can't do anything and nothing is working from them. The closest round, or the closest looking round, was that pistol where they lost that 2v1. So after that, it just seemed like the UCD have just been running away with it, honestly. But this is the buy round for TUD. They do have some ults available, even though UCD have pretty much all their ults here. So if they're going to win any round, this has to be the one, because if not, then the game is practically over due to the eco that TUD have and the ult advantage that UCD maintain.
Yeah, and UCD, I mean, CMD and Toru only one all the way to goal. CMD's going to be spotted, has to quickly rush out, but the rest of TUD were rushing towards him to try and find something, but they're just finding nothing. Ghosts and shadows, nightfall used. All of this is going on CMD just to try and push off the line. Normal strike now invested as well, but Execution's not been scouted, but Martin gets the kill anyway, and Collie Wobbles finds CMD as well. Operator picks up, it's hurt by Toru, but it doesn't matter, because Collie Wobbles has the headshot. Is it going to go for a bit more? But Elizabeth has found two in return. This has just become doable again for UCD, but the problem is, Elizabeth's so low, and Slime just gets headshot to smoke from guard. Now it's only Elizabeth with 11 HP, and is just going to slowly start backing off. Although actually, we'll come back into this, but Gartz is there, ready and waiting as the smoke goes down. Elizabeth's life is not prolonged anymore, as finally, TUD are able to get their first round in the second half.
Maybe that's the stabilization round, and honestly, some very good ult usage from TUD there. Only 2 ults invested to get that site control pretty much all for themselves. Although UCD actually didn't use a single ult here, so coming into this round, they still have their very strong eco, and they still have 5 ults that they could use to play with however they want. Very important ult on the TUD side though, the Yoru ult here. He has a shotgun as well, so you just know he's going to pop out on someone and get a almost guaranteed kill with it.
Yeah, it's going to be that dimensional drift used instantly to play showers, but UCD can respect it, just give absolutely nothing to Collie Wobbles, who will find Toru, but only Toru finds Elizabeth right to the end, and Elizabeth stands her ground. Not going to allow any shenanigans for Collie Wobbles. The rest of TUD are late to try and make an impact, but guys find the one. Now he's going to try and swing for another, does find it. CMD shows up, finds nothing. The side has the open though, ready and waiting. Gart's tries to chase the not dead yet, but can't. And it's one for one trades everywhere, but it ends in Gart's needing an ace. Try and keep TUD in it, but it's actually ending up as UCD on map point.
Match point.
At this point, I'm pretty much a Collywobbles jinx here. Every time I say he's going to do something, it goes the opposite way. So maybe I'm better not commenting on what he says. But very well played retake from UCD again. I know I keep singing their praises on this defense, but they maintained control of that lamps just long enough for the team to come back and for that retake to happen. And then on top of that, just the Odin. It's just that Odin on backside. The TUD really needs to find something to flush that out because it just keeps stopping them and killing them all when they're going in on that side.
Yeah, and Viper's hits ready for both sides. And look at this. I mean, TUD are falling into the trap once again. The Odin from Slime is just there waiting, and there's 4 targets for Slime to choose from. And the Odin flipping out, but not going to find anything to force up the angle. Guards is going to run down Slime with the shorty. Finds that kill, and Elizabeth goes down as well. It's a completely free A site as now. The rest of UCD are just sprinting, trying to get to the site just to try and make an impact. And Collywobbles, it only has the Spectre, but you can easily find 2 here, especially if Torres looking at check. Callum finds 1, Collie finds both, and it's a flawless for TUD. And finally some fights coming in for TUD.
TUD is slowly crawling out of the depths here, and that was a very nice play on finally getting rid of that Odin that is just haunting them on that A side. So very nice execute from TUD. And if we're looking at the UCD eco, it seems like it's actually slowly getting whittled down, although this is the second to the last round. If TUD keep maintaining these round wins, it looks like they might not have a bye for the next round if they lose this. So this is very important. TUD obviously need to win this just not to lose the game, but also to get that eco down.
Yeah, Marvel's going to invest in Soda now as well. And we're going to find anything of it so yet. So it looks like it might be this B here instead. Plays are split, and actually Sushi's gonna pop for that Viper's pit towards short. And I mean, there's no one there, but it's like, I mean, it's a bit of control, but it's only really controlling Hookah what they already had. There's not much. Like, there's nothing that Sushi can really do for it, or any member of UCD. As Gart's gonna find this 1v1 with CMD and takes it and wins it. It's now has 3 players towards his own side. Viper's pit used as well, but their spike is going to be delayed as they're going to have to just try and run it down. As it's going to be Howard try and get there, but they're going to get there late, and it's too late for Collywobbles to get headshot. Play Elizabeth Torres doesn't want to check and showers. They're all there to play now. Spam with the Odin. I want the slide. They're all still going to spot out all the members of UCD as Kawa finds another. This is a bank breaker for UCD, but Slime is determined to stay in with this. 2 versus 2 post 1. What can UCD do here? Wavu has his own, and there's a spam from Kawa. And they brought this right back 11-12. UCD is starting to sweat.
And this is the make it or break it round, and it's still match point for the UCD team. But if we look at the eco, they've had to buy up 2 Spectres here. So the eco is not looking too pretty, and they're also down in ults here. The Fade ult is still being held by Kawa for TUD. So this is pretty much as good as it gets for TUD in advantages. Now they just have to somehow find a way to properly play those. And it looks like they're going for another default that worked for them last round there. So we'll see how they play this out, especially considering that they do have these slight advantages over UCD.
Yeah, the 2 heavyweights of the group really coming in and clashing now. Looks like it's going to be 4 players towards this big side, towards the Cypher as well. UCD have just left have got no control towards using it, just allowing all of the space on site for TUD to run into. As Torres is squatted out and can't find the shots for Collywobbles. Now it's just Elizabeth alone on site with the Spectre. This is an easy post plant TUD to go into, and now Marvin has this orbital strike as well. Elizabeth finds one with the Spectre. We'll try and find another, but we'll actually just get shut down from Kawa. Now a miracle is needed from UCD if there was Asian. She swings out with the judge, finds one, but Asian trades out Slime. The Odin is down. He's going to push towards Asian, finds the kill, but 11 HP is the difference maker. Guts trying to spam down, finds one. The Odin's trying to use Asian, she's down to 11 HP now. He's still with 2 mollies available, and the TUD were always going to win that, and it's Gars to find that final kill to push us to OT.
Switching sides.
Very nice take from TUD again. They somehow single out that Clove on site and they instantly react on it with a TP from the Yoru and just insta-frag on him. So very nice from TUD. But we can't forget that they did struggle quite a bit on that attack half. So I think that if we want to see who's going to win on this overtime, it's going to be the team that wins their attack half, their attack side. Very important here, and it looks like we're just going back to old reliable here with the 2 on A and the maybe the 2 on the 3 on B. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a TP sent over to A by Collywobbles here. So it's going to be interesting to see how UCD break through this hold that was stopping them so much and so consistently on their attack half.
Yeah, this is one hell of an opening map so far. Marvin has the Odin, tries to spam through, but doesn't find anything. The one getting tagged up instead is now UCD is going to try and re-clear showers. Well, let's see if it is, but Marvu is still there with that operator, allowing it to bring out agents there as well. Back up, but, I mean, it's the right spot Marvu to spam, but it's just not the right time as Slime's going to go on this lurk, try and find something with this operator. And finds guards. There's a lot of pressure to take him down, but Collywobbles gets that trade onto Slime with that operator. And now UCD is a question. Where do we want to go? We know the Odin's on A, know the operator's on B. Which side do we want to hit first? And I don't think it's going to be A because Marvin's just taken down Agent Sushi on A, and Elizabeth just found another kill onto his B side, but so is Collywobbles, taking down CMD, the duelist, and it's a 3 versus 2 in favour of TUD. And Elizabeth and Toru needs to come up big here. Collywobbles gets out of the dimensional drift. It's going to be pushed by Elizabeth. Now just needs to find the shot, and Elizabeth is the one who finds it instead. And now it's just Asian and Marvu up against Elizabeth and Toru. Elizabeth doesn't even have shields. Been knocked away. This is the cubes are going to come into range. It's not going to be spam, though. She's going to get it half. Elizabeth has solo HP, and now has to do it all as Asian. Takes down Toru. The spam through is good from Elizabeth, but Marvu's just there with the Odin to take down Elizabeth and put TUD on that point.
Oh, such a back and forth of just trades and refrags, and then it was just all over the place, to be honest. Somehow, somewhere, this UCD team made it onto B side, even though they kept getting picked off one by one on that entry. And then Elizabeth gets a nice push on the long there to get Collywobbles, who set himself with the op. But it just seemed that TUD managed to somehow squeak it over them. Asian, really nice turnaround on the player who was re-wrapping him on CT. So once again, it's just up to whoever wins this attack half, honestly.
Yeah, TUD in the prime position to take UCD's map pick here, but UCD, I have a feeling they're not going to let it slip away as easily as that. As we're just going to be sitting and waiting to see what TUD play first, as guys are going to go for this lurk. We've seen this not work out before, but it's going to work out this time, as now you have the Viper implemented and the operator is taken down. CMD finds that first kill. Once the Collywobbles is now, the Odin spams out. It's going to be the same hit. Now they're going to have to find something new, and the Asians found just that. The CMD's there. CMD's on the lurk. Finds 3. Now the show's confused. Finds a 4th. And has set UCD up in a prime position to take this to another OT, but Asian has the spike, and we know how good Asian's been so far. Now Agent Sushi and Elizabeth, and well, Agent Sushi's been noted, is aware, and he's actually going to try and force him 1v1 as Elizabeth, but he's going to miss the timing, but might actually get this timing on the Viper anyway, so Elizabeth has missed her timing, and Asian's just implemented himself into Lamps, knows exactly where one of the opposing threats are, but doesn't know the other. But Might not even need to, as they knows exactly where Asian is, but gets the kill anyway. North have to use those. Elizabeth is touching, but Elizabeth has no idea. Both players need to reload. And Alicia with the shorty gets Elizabeth. A 3k for the Cypher just saved TUD. On what a map one, the TUD take bind.
I was 100% convinced that Elizabeth was going to get that knife off on him, and I don't know how it didn't connect there, but just a nail biter of a map there, to be honest. It was such a back and forth, and both teams were so strong on their defense halves that I really didn't know who was going to be able to somehow overcome that attack that seemed like it was such a tall hill to climb over. So well done to TUD there on somehow getting that win. But Asian, honestly, just a beautiful performance from both him and CMD. But Asian, with the clutches that he was getting, that was a 1v2 clutch that he somehow pulled out of nowhere. So really well played to him, especially.
Yeah, I mean, it's rare you get one player with an average combat score of over 300. CMD 346 ACS, Asian 303. I mean, two phenomenal players. Gave it their all that map, but unfortunately for UCD, it's TUD to take the map pick of Bind. But stay with us. We'll be back for map 2 shortly. Will UCD be able to turn it around, or will TUD be able to close this out in a quick 2-0 fashion? Stay tuned, and we'll be back for Bind shortly. And welcome back to the Ireland Esports Collegiate Series, Valorant, where we have just seen a great map 1 overtime between TUD and UCD. UCD picking Bind as their first map, but coming up short against TUD after TUD managed to come back in that second half. I mean, what a map that was, Horatius.
It was just such a back and forth that whole time. I honestly didn't know who was going to win at either points. The start, that first half, it seemed like TUD was just going to completely run away with it, finishing with an 8-4 lead. And then after that, somehow UCD won. I think it was 6 rounds in a row, and then and then got to match point, and TUD won 3 rounds in a row when they were on match point. So it never looked like one team was just gonna. Well, at one point it looked like TUD was gonna win it completely, and then it swung back and forth. It wasn't a complete wipeout, and it was a nice OT there. So it is gonna be interesting to see how it's gonna turn out on TUD's map pick. Because considering that it's going to be their map pick, you'd expect that maybe they'd be stronger on this map than they would on Bind, as that was UCD's pick. So that's going to be very interesting to see here.
Yeah, definitely so. And just to give a quick update in some of the other matches, TCD 2-0 against LC's Unicorns having to forfeit tonight, unfortunately. Meanwhile, in our other match, DCU against Maynooth, DCU currently 12-10 up, I believe. Let me just double check. Yep, 12-10 up on, I'm not sure which map it is currently. I'll give you just a second. Not sure which map it is. Hold. We'll find the map. We'll find the map, I promise. On Haven. So DCU really taking it to Maynooth on the Maynooth's map pick as well. I mean, it's the same 3 maps. We always see Haven, Bind, and Split. So, at least we get a bit more creative with this one. But, I mean, you could tell this is a battle for the top spot, can't you?
Yeah, I mean, these are two very dominant teams coming in here, so I wouldn't expect any less. And at this point, like seeing the last map, even though it was UCD's pick, I would not be surprised seeing a map 3 here. And I almost endorse or encourage them to take it to a map 3 because I really want to see that Pearl, especially with two strong teams here on a map that I haven't seen yet come out of the Irish Collegiates. So, and just to point out, obviously the 2 stars right now, which is CMD and Asian, both players just seem like they're taking over rounds round by round. It looks like they're doing impossible things here with the 4Ks, the 3Ks, the 1v2 clutches that were coming out from Asian, the entries that CMD would go through and just come out on top with wiping the whole of the TUD side. So if I'm going to keep an eye out, it's going to be on those 2 and see how they play this out.
Yeah, definitely. And I think another player to keep an eye out was Toru. I mean, didn't have a great map 1, but we've seen it before how good Toru can be when they get going. Definitely someone to keep an eye on. And as well, Elizabeth really making a few clutch plays in Bind. But, I mean, for the side of TUD, I mean, there's a lot of good things coming through. I mean, Marvin with that operator coming in, definitely clutch and really pushing TUD over the edge and pushing them forward to that win. But we will be just waiting for some ready ups. Meanwhile, let's talk about the other group that we have, Group B, TCD, DCU, Ulsters, and Maynooth. And it's a bit surprising actually. TCD top of that table, DCU second, and it's actually Ulsters in third, with Maynooth really struggling in Premier Spring, down and fourth. What's your take on that, Horatius?
I mean, I think that it's kind of what I expected coming in from that side of the bracket. DCU, a very strong team, and the rest, like, nothing really too out of the ordinary. I kind of expected that sort of ranking, and I haven't really been paying attention too much to that side of the bracket because I know more about the bracket that we're currently watching anyway. But nothing really too surprising. Maybe DCU, I would have expected them to be the top seed coming out, but it's a bit give or take, to be honest, and who was gonna win that bracket.
Yeah, definitely so. And it's going to be interesting to see this playoff bracket when it comes through. And I mean, there's going to be some banging matches of it. I mean, I don't think there's really many teams that you can sit there and say these teams aren't, strong in some way. There isn't a team that doesn't have a niche, a niche like that they can exploit. It's definitely something that to look forward to in the playoffs because, if you I don't know how common courtesy pick'ems are, for IECS, admittedly, but if you are doing pick'ems for playoffs, it's going to be near enough impossible, I feel, because there's no weak teams, I don't think.
Yeah, coming into the playoffs, I wouldn't be surprised if any team makes the run for it. Obviously, you have UCD, which are kind of the expected winners. They're probably the favorites coming into this. TUD, with their new roster, are looking really strong, especially like watching them now playing against UCD, who are we just know that they're dominant. DCU already known. Like these are teams that like you wouldn't be surprised if they're running away with it. So the playoffs this sem are definitely very interesting, and it's something that you're going to want to keep your eye out on.
Yeah, and there is a few internet issues with a few of the players, so we are just going to throw it to a quick break, but stay tuned because we will be back with that map 2 of Split coming very soon. And welcome back to what could be the final map of IECS group stages for spring. As TUD coming to their map pick of split 1-0 up. And it looks like, I mean, TUD are going to be on the defender side, and they're hovering over a few interesting picks, but it was mainly that Harbour, but looks like Marvu's going to play it a bit more sensibly now.
I mean, we've seen this TUD comp before where I think they like running this on split anyway. I think they like running that double duelist with a Teo, which is a bit out of the ordinary, to be honest. Like Teo's not really as strong as he was when he was released. So I wouldn't be surprised if that Teo pick is actually real. But the smokes, I'd say they're probably just going to go for Omen. So I think this is probably the comp we're going to get, other than the Harbor. If they go Harbor, then I'd be very surprised. But it would be interesting because it's something so like not regularly played. I'm not too sure about the UCD side. I think it looks like they're just going to run fairly standard comp once again. They're going to put CMD on that Raze, and like, why not? He was pretty much dominating the whole game. Oh, maybe the Neon, actually. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting sort of switch up of roles. Kawa and Connie going to be on that double duelist, but it's actually going to be the double sentinel for UCD here. As Tori's going to move over to that Sage. And it's a really interesting mix of comps here, because Kawa didn't have the best of games on Fade on Bind, but now going over to this Jet, definitely wanting to improve. And meanwhile, Toru didn't have the best of games on Clove on Bind, and yet now has moved over to the Sage, more, maybe a slightly more passive role. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see this clash of the teams, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure. And these are fairly unorthodox comps, so like we are getting treated a little bit here. But I think once again, I want to see how Collywobbles controls the map as a Yoru. I feel like Yoru is so strong on this map once again. He's just such a strong character right now, and that's why he's going to get nerfed. So that's a very important part of this, and also the Neon plays. I want to see how Neon is used here, especially with no flashes, no stuns, other than the Omen flash, obviously. So I'm interested to see how they play this out, and it looks like they're just going to go with the old reliable of just 5-man hit something.
Yeah, when in doubt, just five player hit something and hope it works, but it's actually going to end up in the splitters. Using this to rush into heaven. And Guns are going to face so much pressure, trying to slow him down. They won't do that, but Marvu fights two anyway, but faded out by UCD as Slime's just going to drop down, try and gung-ho onto Asian, but doesn't find the kill. Now TUD are going to have this retake in a 3 versus 2 situation, and they have that Teo Yuka, which Guts is now just really invested, so doesn't have it anymore. Let's get find one though. He's going to try and find the second onto Guts, but doesn't. Aikawa cleans up Slime, and TUD takes the pistol round once again.
That was a nicely played defense there from TUD. They had Marvu down in hell there, holding for the people walking out of heaven. They had Collywobbles swinging out on that main angle to try and maybe get some kills, and Asian was ready for the refrag on that streets. So honestly, really nice, and on top of that, they also had Gartz with a delay of his mollies up in heaven. So very nicely played. They adapted very nice to that fast execute, that fast heaven take. And it didn't look like too much of a struggle, to be honest. They still had 2 people alive there, even though it could have been a little dicey on that 3v2 retake. It looked like they didn't lose control at all during that round. So already a pretty good showing coming in from the TUD side, and UCD, it just looks like they're just doing the old reliable of just constantly re-hitting. So we'll see if they actually do anything different from the 5-man hits later on.
Yeah, you can open it. Howard, I mean, I think Howard meant to just be the bait, but actually going to kill Torres. CMD though, Stinger in hand, Classic in hand, takes down both duelists from TUD, but Asian manages to find Asian sushi. But as again, the spam with the Stinger, just Asian down so low. He's taken off his gun as well, just stun himself, 8 HP for the Neon. Does get taken down by Marvu, but it's a good start for UCD, and maybe not a winnable round, but definitely a round where they can do a bit more damage. But Slime only has this classic, but Elizabeth has the sheriff, and gets that pick up to Marvu, and all of a sudden, this is not only become expensive, but becomes losable for TUD. Asian only on 23 HP, and now no more Teo Yuta for guards to try and clear out these 2 players. But that's the first one cleared out. There's only a classic cleared out, but Asian with the outlaw manages to find a second, but a costly investment from TUD.
I think they lost 2 Spectres there, and I think a Bucky of some kind. So that is actually pretty much as good as it gets for an eco round there. Obviously, a win is better, but you took down 3 guns, you got your plant down, you got some orbs, some money. So if I'm UCD, I'm not upset at all with the value that I got through that round. Oh, a good retake from TUD, but quite costly. Coming into this bonus round now, they have bought up some guns here. They have 1 Bucky, they have a Sheriff, and they have that Frenzy, but they're maintaining most of the guns that they got from that last round. So we'll see what they can do with these, especially considering the Outlaw has no one-shot targets with all the heavy armor going in UCD side. And it looks like it's just going to be another 5-man hit for UCD.
This is the one thing from UCD, they don't like to do things slowly, they like to hit you quick and hit you fast. This is where CFD rises to the challenges for shots. This is the past shots, but Liz is the first one to go down, takes the Bucky. Asian with the Sheriff takes another one down, and Colin almost finds Sushi with the Bucky as well. And all of a sudden, this is really scary territory for UCD. Colin gets killed to Asian, but does so cleanly. And Collywobbles now has his Guardian, but has to challenge Slime here. But Kawa has got the timing with this Outlaw on Heaven. Could easily do a bit of damage and could even one-shot both these players, I believe. Well, at least get them to single digits in HP as Collywobbles will be the first victim. And Kawa looks to be following closely behind as only 21 HP for the Jet. It looks like it's going to be a matter of moments in this post-plant as Kawa. The hand is going to be forced and UCD are just going to play very defensive here.
It's just too hard to break into this with the Outlaw. Although they are both one-shot, they're playing such a nice cross angle here. They doesn't look for the link guy. So that's a costly but round win nonetheless. UCD, not the best. They did lose 3 guns there. They lost both of the armor, but not the worst. TUD probably happy with the outcome of that. And looking into this round, both teams are fairly even on the ults. The only difference is obviously is that CMD is once again buying that Judge for the fast rush on the Heaven, it looks like. It seems like they might just do the same thing as it worked last round. And TUD have to find a way to maybe either slow down the Heaven push or use that main control that they got last time a little more, and actually it's a bit different this time. It seems like they're just going through main.
Yeah, they've actually baited this out really well, UCD. They tend to let them go Heaven again, but they've actually gone main and just drawn the players towards Heaven as the rifle goes up. But I don't think they actually hit anyone, did I? No, I think he had 2 people. Somebody's already got in on this charge, fine, tries to find one, can't find anyone as Toro goes down as well. Slime just trade one out, so it's still within reach for UCD, but still a player disadvantage in favour of TUD, and now it's just going to be the brakes hit as UCD have now got to try and formulate a plan of what to do next, and Slime is gone. I mean, that's your top frag, 6 and 3 currently for the Fade, doing such a good job, and now they're gone, and now it's just Elizabeth and Sushi to try and take down this Heaven control of Gart, who I think has actually just seen Agent Sushi. And yep, just saw him, gets the headshot, and now Elizabeth's been scouted out as well. The stun not going to hit, but it's just going to be spammed through the wall. Collywobbles walks out with his flash. I mean, it gives a free kill to Elizabeth, but full bait for Gart as TUD at a third.
And they're charging up on their ults really well here. It looks like UCD don't have much depth to their attack. It looks like they just like those straightforward pushes. And although it can work sometimes, it's really difficult because if you look at what TUD's doing, they're just insta-rotating. And they're not getting punished for it because UCD are just going for those insta-hard pushes on one angle. Maybe a bit of an adaptation here. It looks like they're going for a bit more mid-control. It could just be another rush, but with some people from sewer. But let's hope that maybe they've changed the push a little more.
On the save, I mean, you're expecting to try and change it a bit more, but instead it looks like it's going to be rinse and repeat, except it isn't. They're actually going to go towards Heaven on this A side, but I mean, maybe that's just a fake as well, because they're actually going to be heading back towards Mail on this B site. But Gart hasn't given up this position yet. Still just jiggling to try and find something. I think he's only seen one, but now he's going to hear the multitude of footsteps, sends out that missile just to try and stall. Now there is numbers for TUD and not only numbers, there's guns as well. As Marvel Gart going to be looking towards Heaven. There's a chance for Elizabeth to sneak up on one. Finds Gart, but can't find the second of Marvu. An Asian there now as well. Puts it UCD in such a good position. There's only slide with this Bucky and TUD. I mean, it looks like it could have got scary there with that push from the garage, but done a very good job to hold on.
We did see something a bit different there. They did kind of do a little bit of a fake going towards A there by going through the fence, but it's just another hit. It was an eco round, so you wouldn't really expect too much of a difference, and it is better to just hit all together. But at a certain point, if you're losing these many rounds in a row, I think UCD has to realize that map control is fairly important, and they need to maintain some of it if they want an easier execute onto a site and not just going into 5 people instantly. So a buy round here for both teams, some ult advantage on TUD, and it looks like a bit of a default for UCD.
Yeah, UCD now slowing it up massively as the drone goes up mid from the Tejo of Guts, and I think it actually saw CMD but didn't get the scan off, and now Toru's going to join the Neon just to try and get a bit more space, but spotted out by Guards, and is actually just going to be defending Heaven. And I think for TUD here, you're somewhat scared because you don't really know what's going on. You don't know where these players are positioned. You're so used to these fast hits onto sites that now they've gone silent. You're sort of scared to push up and get any space anywhere. I mean, look how much space they've left towards mid. And it's only now that they're starting to explore garage, but now it's going to be just a quick push onto the same site. They're going to be giving it for almost free, except for some plays and screens as Asian finds one, gets traded out by Slime, and now directional drift used as now UCD have got this post point, but Elizabeth has been away. All of a sudden, has gone missing, and Collingwood was actually blocked up from the stage was really well played from Toro, but traded out by Guards, and the Tejo missile finds CMD, and there's a 4K for Guards. And I mean, the Tejo's really come alive when you need it most.
I mean, I'm not really pointing out Guards here, but a big part of this TUD hold is Guards maintaining all of that B Heaven by himself. He has been so crucial in these holds that are happening in the round wins that are going on, so I'm not surprised seeing him get that 4K. He's playing outrageously good so far, and that's a very important round for TUD to win. They only invested one ult, which was the Euro ult. They completely crippled UCD's eco, and going into this, they still maintain a bit of an even ult streak with UCD here. So really well played round from TUD, massive retake. They played that really nice on the contain, but we are seeing a bit more depth coming in from UCD here with a bit of a slower push. So it's going to be interesting to see how this evolves now.
Yeah, so it's more depth. The problem is that the depth isn't really working. TUD really doing a stellar job of holding onto this defensive side. Although I say that Kawa is the first one to fall from Slime's Sheriff. And now Collingwood was the screen. Collingwood actually just going to stare at that blind. That's maybe a bit more from but less aura from Asian Sushi. He does to Asian, but CMD gets it back and gets that kill onto Asian, and now TUD are at numbers disadvantage for the first time in what feels like a while, but Marvel's used the ult to try and TP behind him, and he's going to run well with the Armageddon, or at least try to, but it doesn't matter because it's a 50 round for UCD, and out of all the rounds to win, I wouldn't have expected that one.
That's a very, very nice round win there, and it seems like the thing that brought them the win there was just the 5-man hit. So maybe it's better if they just stick to what they know and what works for them sometimes. But not really the best for TUD there. They used 2 ults and lost to an eco. Look at the UCD ults now going into this. Their eco is up. They have 5 ults online. This is where they can start maybe getting back some of these rounds and maybe start making a comeback on this, because so far it's looked like TUD is just running away with it.
Yeah, no, definitely so. It's the slower pace once again, but the 5-player push towards the Hayden. Asian's gone down already, trying to be a bit too adventurous. As now Collingwood has to hold on to this screen position for so long, but the neural theft is going to get caught, and Collingwood was the position scouted out. Now, I mean, TUD have just been fully scouted. They know that Collingwood is the only one on screens. On the flip side, they don't know that CMD's in heaven so close. Get blinded, doesn't matter. We'll turn the flash, but Collingwood will find the kill anyway. And now, TUD might be back into this. But the problem is there's still 3 ults on the side of UCD. So there's one gone, Tori goes down, Slime finds Marvel though with his raid, and Sushi is whiffing massively. It's only Slime in 1 versus 2, and the diffuser just being stuck from Collywobbles, but it doesn't even matter, because Gartz finds the headshot anyway. And I think Collywobbles wanted to try and give it to Gartz. Oh no, I think they're going to try and pick up the ult, yeah, that's what they're going to do. But
yeah, they're saving that up.
Round.
UCD actually did that really well. They had an Omen late lurk on mid, but he just whiffed on Kawa, who dropped us up to pick up a gun, and Kawa somehow got the Omen and delayed the Fade from fighting with his team on site. So somehow TUD pulled that out of nowhere, because that was pretty much UCD's round to win. They got sight, they got the early frag, and they maintained that heaven control for so long with a late lurk. Now this is not the best, honestly. They only used 1 ult, which is the one good thing for UCD here, but it's slowly they're just losing grip of this game, and it looks like a bit of a repeat where the attack is a struggle. So we'll hope that maybe the defense shows a little more fight back if they don't show it here on the attack.
Yeah, they have to try something here on the attack, and with 4 ults available as well, I mean, you'd hope that UCD are able to form something out, but as we've seen before, that they're not able to do it as well as other teams are. But Toru finds that first goal to Collywobbles, who was in that good position, but just couldn't find the shots, and now CMT's pushed so far up, and he's going to get punished by guards. And now, feeling adventurous as actually forced UCD to be in such a bad position, no theft to scout out. Both will just try and delay as 2 players from Tunia hit the Toru, who's going to find Marvel on the TP. And now it's just going to be a full entrance now from UCD. I mean, for TD, I mean, Asian finds 2. How on earth he's found Asian Sushi, I don't know, but Toru finds a 3rd. Now it's only Kawa and Asian trying to do something. Asian's found a 3rd, and Kawa with the blades has found a 4th, but I don't know if they have enough time. I think they do, just about.
That was a havoc of a round there. A very nice entry from CMD and Toru there, jumping out there, getting that nice kill into Collywobbles, who was inserted in a nice angle there. But from there, just complete mayhem. CMD pushes through on Link and gets killed almost instantly by guards. So they are getting a bit overzealous with these pushes sometimes. And if we're looking at the eco now, it looks like it's all over the place for UCD. They have 3 people who can full buy, and then 2 people who can't afford a gun whatsoever. So it looks like they're going to maybe recycle some guns, if even. But they are forcing here because they recognize the importance of this round. They still have 3 ults to play with here, and fairly big ults at that. So UCD can somehow make something out of this round if they play it right.
Yeah, not Collywobbles, so Kawa still has this operator in hand. Just going to be holding the Sabres down, firing a shot, but not hitting, as the rest of UCD are going to start to rotate towards this A side, not wanting to let CMD and Slime have all the fun and fighting their own. But this is a dangerous position for CMD to try and fight. We know that he likes to try and swing into the top and take that fight, but it's not always when you want to try and fight. Isn't going to expect Asian just to swing out from heaven, and Elizabeth from the like gets caught out by guards, and all of a sudden this has just become very bad for UCD. Or like guards hasn't actually spotted. Well, I was going to say hasn't actually spotted Toru, but I think Toru did fire some shots out. But no, they didn't actually. They don't know that there's 2 players here, but now, well, I mean now they do, because there's so much noise being made, and now Collywobbles and Asian, 2 superstars of the TUD team, are going to have so much time and so much space to try and clear these 2 out. Only 30 seconds, I mean, Spike's gone down, Kawa's punished Toru, and Collywobbles is punishing Asian Sushi. It's a flawless round for TUD.
At no point whatsoever did it look like TUD had lost any part of the map which they didn't want to lose. They had control everywhere they wanted, and this deep trip on vents that Asian is putting down is pretty much guaranteeing that they don't really need that mid control as much, because Gartz is making sure to hold that B heaven, and the trip is making sure that they don't get lurked on by any vents players. So UCD are struggling to break through, even on the rounds where they're trying to be a more defaulty. So at this point, no eco. It looks like just some forces from UCD, and it's just going to be a rundown on B main.
Yeah, I mean, look, it always comes back to a run. CMD will find that first one with that Vandal, but Guided Salva's going to block off the rest of UCD as Toru a lot of damage from it. Marvu as well finding that first kill. Color shot is used, but Marvu's there, and Asian's there to back them up. As that was only Elizabeth, no theft is used. I mean, this is just the end at this point. Judge isn't going to find anything. There's a 3k for Asian once again.
It's looking so clean here for the TUD side, and even though CMD and the rest of the UCD seem to be getting some very nice early frags, they just can't break through on this defense. TUD just seem to have an answer for anything that UCD are doing here. So we're going now into 9-2. This is the last round of the half, and you really don't want to be going with your enemy team having double digits on the rounds. So UCD need to wake up for this last round. They have two ults that they've had pretty much the entire game now. That Rez and the Neon ult, which are two very strong ults. Let's see how they play them here. Another 5-man A hit.
Well, make it a 4-player A hit. Takes the down, but Torres with the Rez hit, the long-range shot. Will leave that overrun. Doesn't Torres react to it. Torres does find one, but Asian's just finding 3. And I mean, a 1-player performance from Asian across this match. And is just really stomping down on UCD on split, as now it's only Elizabeth in a 1 versus 3. Neural Theft has told her exactly where they all are, but the problem is you've still got to kill all 3 of them, and with only 50 HP, you don't have the spike. Now they're just going to rush towards her. There's Asian with a 4k. 21 and 6 for Asian in this first half. Domination on split.
Switching sides.
I mean, I see why TUD picked this map. They are so good at maintaining the control of the map, and their retakes or site holds, it was the same as what was happening on Bind. They have the perfect answer to whatever UCD is throwing at them, and they know what they want to do. They have a very nice game plan, and they're just sticking to it. UCD, obviously, even last map, we're looking a lot stronger in the defense half, so I wouldn't be surprised if they can pick themselves back up a little more on this defense, but it's almost make or break. 10-2 is such a rough way to start out a map here. So the way that UCD like pick this back up is going to matter a lot now. It looks like they're just doing another 4-1 split like they did on their defense to start off, but the no TP is actually going to make it a little difficult with the Cypher actually coming back to A, so it's a 2-3 split.
Yeah, I think this has to be near enough perfection from UCD now. They can't afford to let TUD get their foot in the door. It's a good start from CMD, but Cower's quick with it. Gets that headshot to CMD with that frenzy. They get to take it down low though, but it doesn't matter. It's a 4 versus 4 now. And with the spike down, TUD are just going to play this post plan. How they've been so good. And Slumber, he has a shorty as well. There's not much this fade can really do on site, but TUD actually playing very defensive here. 2 on site and 2 off site. This could be very nice if UCD just want to run them down. That's exactly what they're doing. Elizabeth's line, they're all finding kills. The guided salvos aren't going to be enough to stall permanently. And Smoke goes down, tries to find one, tries to find the second. Meanwhile, what's going on? Toru's just going to defuse. And UCD pick up a pistol.
A clean cut round for UCD there, a nice little 4-man retake, and CMD once again just showing that he gets those early frags. I'm pretty sure most of the first bloods that are coming in for the UCD side are coming from him, so he's doing a good job on that, and he got refragged, but nice little retake. So this is nice now. They are buying up quite a bit here with 2 judges and an outlaw, so if they lose any guns, it's going to be a bit costly for them. They need to make sure that they just play this smart from what it seems, and TUD just seem like they're going for another hard hit with 4 people.
Yeah, why not? I mean, they've read this quite well. It's only Agent Sushi on site, but now the rest of UCD, the Horde, has come in just to try and delay, and it's actually going to be TUD leaving this B site and running towards the A site, which has the Cypher ult on it. But again, no player on site so far, but CMD has now joined Elizabeth on site. CMD has this outlaw. I mean, one-shot opportunities everywhere, as now it's just going to be rushing in, trying to get this post plant in as quickly as possible, but Collywobble is the first casualty on B side, not able to take that TP out and escape to safety with the rest of this team, as Guard's going to try and make a hero play, but he's actually just going to get smacked down by Toru and the Spectre. As now this should just be a fairly PG anti-eco round for the rest of UCD, and it is exactly that.
I mean, that's as good as it gets if you are on your anti-eco here. Although, pretty much no armor loss other than Elizabeth, but she has regen armor, so it actually doesn't matter anyway. TUD did get the plant down, which is something, but not good at all. They fed all those orbs, all that money over to the UCD side, and they only got the 200 from the plant. So not really what you'd want if you're on that TUD side. Now going into this, UCD, very good bonus here. They have that outlaw for, I think it looks like they're going to have TD have at least one player who has light armor, maybe two depending on if Marvu here buys his armor. And they still have 2 Spectres and 2 Judges, which Judges notoriously strong on this map. A little default coming in from the TUD side, maybe to try find some of those Judges or just poke and prod and see any gaps. But this is going to be a very important and pivotal round to the comeback.
The wall in mid, fairly standard from the side. It's the first time I've actually seen it so far from Toru. That has been invested, but Slime's actually just swinging with a Judge, and now I mean, this is such a bad position for Slime, especially with that guy in Salvo, and it's just going to be stuck in between a rock and a hard place as Asian picks up that kill. Now, UCD, I mean, this is an awful start, probably the worst you can get if you're a UCD fan or a UCD player. Is now the rest of TUD is going to head towards A. The Cypher U2 is still up, but the problem is now CMD's just left. They've completely misread this UCD. The call is wrong. It's a free A site. It's a free heaven for TUD. There's no capitalization on it, and now CMD is going to be sprinting back. But the problem is, I mean, he's going to be alone. There's nothing that really can be done to deny this plant or even deny any space on the site. It's a 5v4 post plant now for TUD. I mean, can't really go wrong with this. But I've said this before in other games, and it's been false. But with Cow and Collie Wobbles, I feel like I'm not going to get cast curse today.
Let's hope, because I've done it a few times to Collie Wobbles here. He's not going to be very happy with me after this match anyway. And it looks like it's just going to be a hard rush in. They actually do get 2 kills off of that, and the Judge is still up. He picks up a gun. 3 people main. It's too difficult to come back into that. A little bit of damage coming in for the UCD side, but a very clean round for TUD. They read it perfectly, and they executed, they held, and that was pretty much it. There was nothing really too interesting in that round, other than that first kill with the guided salvo. Only losing 2 guns as well, so the eco on the TUD side is actually looking fairly healthy coming into this round. They don't have any ults up yet, but they are charging up some of them, and they're coming up on some of their stronger ults here. And it looks like they're just going to go for another default. It seems like TUD like playing this a little more methodical than UCD do.
Definitely so. There's mid-play once again as Toru's wall is instantly broken down, and the smoke comes in as well, but UCD are just here waiting for this aggression from mid, and it's actually going to be CMD that's going to push the boundaries, push this aggression, try and catch someone on the wall, but it isn't going to be able to do that. It's actually back to where they at the perfect time for this drone as the drone is shot out. CMD just runs out, but now such a poor position, but slides away from Neon. Slides away and manages to escape somehow with his life. And I don't know how exactly he's done that, but I tip my hat to you, sir. As Elizabeth is actually going to be the first one to find a kill over the other side of the map. The Cypher has gone down, but it has to try and make something out of nothing, and will get nothing in return as Toru takes down the Oro. And I mean, TUD are playing for this post-plant on A, but Kawa needs to make this play and hope that someone's coming through mid, but no one is. As Marvin will get this spike down. Gartz is going to push Elizabeth, but finding out why you shouldn't push Elizabeth by yourself as Marvin is now going to hold on to sight. Takes down by CMD. Kawa finds Sushi, finds a second of CMD. Maybe one more, and I'll start believing that this could happen as Kawa now has a third, but with only 10 seconds on the clock, has to get the spike down and planted, and Toru's right there to deny in case anything happens, and doesn't even need to worry too much, as Toru fires the shot to Kawa. There's a 5th round on the board for UCD.
A nice try from Kawa there, but that was a nice hold from Elizabeth there. She took down her counterpart in Asian there, and held that site down really well. She got 2, played back, and only retook with her team. So very nicely played from the defense on UCD there. And although TUD do have the money to buy up, some of them don't actually. So Marvu and Kawa don't have money to buy here, but Kawa does have his ult. So we are going to see a buy round coming in from TUD here, even though their eco isn't looking the best going into this. And it looks like just another slow round breaking that wall.
Kawa is going to pop those jet lines though, so will be a bit more danger into the mix as Taro's going to be up on this wall, but this is the one round where TUD decide to not go mid, which, you know, I think every Valorant player feels like that, Taro. Don't worry, it happens to us all. But it's going to be Slime with this Odin just sat in the back corner and it's going to hear this drone. The drone's going to actually see this Odin. This Slime tries to exit out. Now it's just going to get spammed for the smoke, blinded up, and Guards is the one to get the kill after Clowables. A distraction dance from the Yoru. As now this is going to be deadly, not only in this round, but in terms of the entire match for UCD. They have to find something and they have to find something quickly. Toru does have this raise to be used if they can, but Marvu will find CMD. Sushi tries to push out, but gets picked up by Kawa. Elizabeth finds one, but it's a second for Kawa. And now it's Toru. The 1v3. I can only find one. This TUD put themselves up to match point.
That's not the best for UCD, especially considering the eco here. They do have money to buy up some guns, but just like TUD last round, there's going to be two people who can't buy up at all. So this is, once again, a really good stage for TUD, other than the ult advantage that UCD have coming into this round. One ult's not so important with the Omen ult, but that Rez and that Cypher ult are so strong. And if they manage to get that one ult orb for the Neon, then they also have that Neon ult. Once again, it's just a slow default. This TUD team likes taking their time, likes picking apart the map and finding gaps. So we'll see how they decide to play this out.
It's worked well so far. It's not going to know wall mid this time, which allows CMD to walk up, but it's spotted by Marvu. The doors is now. CMD is going to try and take this fight with Marvu, who's not really expecting it. Meanwhile, Koniwa was walking up Heaven, and Marvu, the first casualty, will be taken down by CMD as now Koniwa's going to try and make a play, but I didn't expect anyone to be that close, and he's going to blind himself up, but it doesn't matter. Finds a kill to Elizabeth anyway. The Cypher Yuto all down as Gart's now pushes forward, finds one, and Asian finds another one in CMD, so now it's just Toru and Slime to try and find something, but Toru still has this raise. This could be massive. But within the Sheriff and the Judge, has to be something done. Trying to salvage used. Coward takes down CMD. I think the raise. And this is disaster stations. This is panic stations for UCD. As Asian finds one, and Kawa finds the second. 13-5. And TUD take this match in dominant fashion from last season's champions.
I mean, it didn't really look close at all there, to be honest. And considering the fact that they did win on the UCD map pick, it's not that all that surprising. They just look so strong on that defense, and getting defense on both maps, all three maps, as a matter of fact, if we went to map 3, it's pretty devastating for the UCD side, considering that I just don't think that their attack was as well thought out as it should have been. But TUD playing really well. There were some standout players, Asian playing amazing, but overall, the team as a whole were playing so well, and their util usage, the way they were taking the map, the way they were retaking or fighting sites, it was just all working and coming together. So as a whole, the team played really well there.
Yeah, definitely so. But if you want to talk about player of the match, it's not something we usually do, but it has to go to Asian. 374 ACS in that second map. I mean, what a performance from that Cypher, playing Cypher on the bind, on the split, and definitely one of the strongest players we've seen in IECS, not only in spring, but probably the entire season.
I mean, he has a legacy, to be honest. I'm pretty sure he was on the team that made the run on for TUD where they were undefeated for, I think it was 4 sems or so. So he's known to be a very strong player, but he just comes out every single time, and he proves it through his pure team play, his aim, and just the ability to get kills in situations where he really shouldn't. So yeah, if there is a player of the match, it's definitely Asian.
Yeah, and that is our final week of group stages done. And the Group A ends with TUD as that top seed, UCD in second place with Setu and ATU in third and fourth respectively. Meanwhile, Group B undecided yet. DCU currently have a 1-0 lead against Maynooth, but that we'll see if Man Youth can come back to that later. But it is goodbye from us for tonight. We will be back next week with more Valorant action, but stay tuned for more IECS with Rocket League tomorrow on St. Patrick's Day of all days, Counter-Strike on the Wednesday, and League of Legends on the Thursday. So keep an eye on each of our teams on both Premier, Open Division. Just keep an eye on the Ireland Esports Collegiate Series, really, is what I'm trying to say. Big thank you once again to our sponsors, Play, GG Machines, Dog Patch, and of course Red Bull for sponsoring the Ireland Esports Collegiate Series. And we, from myself, Horatius, all of the players, and all of the staff that work with the IECS Valorant, we'd like to wish you a very happy St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, and we'll see you next week.